987654321 live. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 22nd of January. So what we've got in store today, firstly let's look briefly at news events. I've been reading through here. Of course the headlines is really all about Trump and what's going to happen there. Let's just update where we are on this. Got some more data out. That was out yesterday. Today we've got not a lot is the answer. World Economic Forum still running in Davos. In terms of real terms, it's the annual ski trip for economists. Day 3. The old term break a leg comes to mind. ECB President Lagarde speaking there, and she's that is at Lagarde, isn't it? Lagarde. That is at Davos. Yep. She's joining the ski party for 3:15. So we'll see that there's a potential volatility around her speech there. Okay. Aside of that, we're into day 4 tomorrow. Right. So market's really hanging on Trump's speeches, etc. What's going to happen here with the euro dollar? Well, it's a weird thing. Yesterday I was looking at it with a potential idea, some shorting, and bit uncertain, and I left it, and I'm glad I did. If in doubt, stay out, as they say, apparently. Or is that me? Anyway, let's just clear this off out of the way because it's looking ugly. Right, so we've sort of moved from one range to another range at the moment, it would appear. Now looking at the lower time frames here, it looks it's sitting on its daily pivot at the moment. Maybe a break somewhere along these lines. We could get a move to the upside. It can be quite aggressive and look for a break, but I'm not, in terms of these markets at the moment, I've got no intention of being aggressive. Let's see what happens on see if we get a break, but really looking, yeah, it got terribly messy yesterday. It started rolling to the downside here. I was looking at it in the morning there, avoided taking a trade, and so glad I did. Anyway, not really doing too much at the moment, and there sits a lot of risk. Now other people may have other ideas on that. You do feel free to share. Okay, now the pound dollar, similar price action. It's pushing back up a little bit. I mean, it's miles away from its monthly pivot, but it has recovered against the dollar a tad. And held on a little bit better, but again at the moment, well, it's come back to its daily pivot. If it isn't a bigger trend, I'd be loving to look for the reversal into the next bar, and if it went going on. The shape it's been in, fussed by that, and it's had some good moves up until 2 o'clock yesterday morning. It was fine, then bounced off its weekly S1, and well, it hasn't really moved too much in my favour since then. It started to, but it's not looking the best where it's sitting at the moment. Morning, Ken. Not looking the best where it's sitting at the moment. My thoughts of buy on the rumour, sell on the news could be the case with this. We've got the news coming out on Friday. We've got the Bank of Japan meeting happening where it's expected that the interest rate would be increased by 0.25%. I'm just getting to the point where maybe I'll close beforehand. It's just not moving the way I thought it might move. The sentiment had changed slightly, and the big money sentiment had changed slightly. It's not looking how it was looking, if that makes sense. It was moving nicely into last week when I took the trade, but since then it's got into a bit of a muddle. So that's the yen. Do I stay or do I go is the question. Australian dollar, daily wise, still looking pretty soft here. Has broken the original trend line here somewhat, but structurally, well, it has got a little higher low in there as well. But what's it going to do? It's getting into a bit of a triangular shape here. Starting to see a triangle sort of shape forming there. It's very similar to the euro and the pound in terms of price action. If I'd shown all three of these and crossed out the numbers down the side here, you'd have a hard decision breaking them apart, really. Same price action, which leaves me with not a lot that I want to do there at this stage. Canadian dollar, US dollar CAD. Well, I'm surprised the CAD is sort of strengthened a little bit against the US dollar here. Well, it did, and then, well, it's strengthened back again. It weakened into Monday, Tuesday. It strengthened largely, and if anything, looks a bit bear flaggy, like it might want to continue. It hasn't touched today's pivot. There's still a potential for that to happen. In normal circumstances, I'd be quite happy just drawing the trend line across there and waiting for the next hour and see if we get a continuation and trade this down towards its S1 at least. I just don't trust the price action. I really don't like all of this beforehand. It's messed up the situation. Fundamentally, Trump's talking about putting high tariffs into some of these countries, particularly Canada and Mexico, of course. So it's a difficult one, how it sits at the moment with extra risk. The risk of just a technical setup is one thing, but when you've got fundamental and political risk sitting across, makes it just, it's increasing the layers too much for me. New Zealand dollar now, it's very similar in terms of its price action to the pound. Really, it's probably its closest common picture, although it's already through its daily pivot here, and again, it's too much of a mess, too similar to the others, and if anything, it looks like it might roll. The US dollar Swissy has rolled back a little bit. The Swissy strengthened. It's got the lower highs coming through here than the other markets. Maybe if it clips and has another reaction off that, a reaction off its daily pivot, it's possibly the better looking one, having taken the previous lows out there. This might be the better looking one. Euro yen, this doesn't look bad on the short time frame. There may be a trade coming up on this. It's turning the corner somewhat. The yen softening against the dollar, where it's softening against the euro here. As we can see, it's put the higher low in, and this is a much better looking chart at the moment to a lot of these others, and it has got scope, but not before 8:15 to take a long on the break of this current high. However, if it does it too early, before 8:15, not interested. So there is some scope, and I'd only be looking at 1.3 times the size of the current bar, roughly, or the risk I put on it. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's sitting there. Probably, as I say, probably the best looking of the lot. Euro pound. Still messy. With the euro pound, I'd prefer to trade it off the longer time frames. It's got scope. It's just this is the week to date on the looking at 4-hourly bars, and it's not pushing on that much. But it spent most of last week not pushing on that much, but working its way up. Look at it from an hourly point of view, it's put a lower high and it's changed to the original trend that was running up here. It's broken that. Structurally, it's changed for now. So the shorter time frame not really helping things. Okay, I'm not going to run through any more of those currencies until I do it in the room in a short while. Let's move on and look at gold. Now, China's been a strong buyer with gold, and increasing their holdings regularly. Didn't matter what the price is, they just continued to buy into this. Maybe it's a bit of dollar averaging going on. They don't care. They started buying at such a low price. Their overall holdings are fine. And what they don't want to hold US dollar that much. It's just continuing to go. It's with this, as I said many a time lately, it's just a case of waiting for the retracements when they occur and taking advantage of them. Yesterday it was pulling off in the morning there. It did turn back around in the afternoon. A bounce back to the daily pivot. It might be quite a big move now. If it comes back to that, we might see something later picking up a bit early in the morning to be doing too much for that. Oil, I did take a trade on oil yesterday. Now I'm not an earlier morning or a morning trader of oil, but it's just the opportunity was setting itself up there. It was breaking the previous lows there, so this is, I'm expecting more from a fundamental point of view as well as technical. For more downside there, it's been putting lower highs in. It's rolling over there, and I'll see what we can do with this. I'm trailing, or will be trailing the stop on this. It needs to move down quite a bit further, but you can see the lower highs coming through here. See what it can do. So that's just tracking down. Equity markets then, well, they had a day yesterday and they're up again today. They gave some people maybe the opportunity to get in on the longer side yesterday. We saw the retracements coming through, but it'd been mucky early in the morning there, but it's just tootling along upwards, the S&Ps, and any retrace may give opportunities to do more of that. The equity markets generally will do well under the proposed discussions. The Dow Jones, just looking at this on the dailies as well, good bullish engulfing the sort of bar. I say engulfing, the overall price actions engulfed the previous bar, and still looking like it's got more upside. And the Nasdaq there is well up this morning, and looking like it's got some further upside. So equity markets all looking solid. It says FTSE just catching a bit of resistance where it's sitting at the moment into its monthly R2, so it's just maybe struggling there. It's had a bit of a reaction to those highs, but looks like it's got more to go. A little bit slower than it had been, but it's still pushing up there. And the DAX similarly, he says. This is where my system's going to freeze me, is it? Yeah, there we go. Oh, no, there we go. It's gone. It's already through its R2 now, and continuing to push on up. So equity markets are where the money's going for sure. Right, I will leave you there. So Euro Yen. Best pivot tips on 5 minutes. I don't trade off for 5 minutes. It's just too tight a time scale in the current markets, the way they're moving. It's too fickle, I'm afraid, so I couldn't give you a best pivot tip of anything like that. I've given you the idea of potentially the actually Euro Yen's not going to happen for me. It's already triggered too early. Its win rate once it triggers too early is not so good. So, but it on the bigger scheme of things, Euro Yen might still have further upside as we go through the day. It's just that the strategy I trade doesn't work very well. If it triggers too early in the morning, it's gone almost straight away here. So it's too early. But watch out, because I mean, statistically it just comes back a little bit, but might be opportunities later. Right, I will leave you there, and catch you tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.